the state of emergency declared by the governor, as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, and in accordance with the governor's emergency order number 12 pursuant to executive order 2020-04, this public body is authorized to meet electronically. Please note that there is no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously to this meeting, which was authorized pursuant to the governor's emergency order. However, in accordance with the emergency order, I'm confirming that we are utilizing Zoom for this electronic meeting. All members of the board have the ability to communicate contemporaneously during this meeting through this platform, and the public has access to contemporaneously listen. We previously gave notice to the public of the necessary information for accessing the meeting, including how to access the meeting using Zoom or telephonically. Instructions have also been provided on the website of the board at timberlane.net/Zoom TRSB. If anybody has a problem, please call 382-6541 extension 3955. Please note that all votes that are taken during this meeting shall be done by roll call vote. Let's start the meeting by taking a roll call attendance. When each member states their presence, please also state whether there's anyone in the room with you during this meeting, which is required under the right to know law. Kat, can you take the roll call, please?
Kelly Bowes.
Present, and I am alone in the home.
Brian Boyle.
Present. I'm alone in the room. There are other family members in the house.
Kim Farah.
Present, I'm alone in the room. There are other family members in the house.
Stephen Finnegan.
Present, alone in the room, other family members in the house.
Amy Gentile.
Present, home alone.
Barbara Kishka.
Present, alone in the residence.
Sheila Lowe's.
Here, alone in the house.
Sean O'Neill.
I am here, alone in the house as well.
Kristen Savage.
She's not here. She will be joining us later, so please make a note when she joins. All right, if you could, sorry, I'm still. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Boyle, do you want to lead us in that?
Happy to. I pledge allegiance to the flag
It's a flag
of the
of the United States of America,
and to the republic
to the republic
for which it stands, one nation,
one nation,
under God,
under God,
invisible,
indivisible,
liberty,
with
and
liberty and
justice for
justice
all.
for all.
Thank you. Moving on to the approval of the minutes from May 20th, 21.
A motion, we approve the minutes of May 21, is it?
Is that Barbara?
Yep.
Barbara, and then Steve seconds. Any discussion?
Lovely as always.
Excuse me?
Lovely as always. Kate does a good job.
Thank you. Kat, can you take the roll call vote, please?
Ms. Bowes.
Yes.
Mr. Boyle.
Yes.
Dr. Farah.
Yes.
Mr. Finnegan.
Yes.
Ms. Gentile.
Yes.
Mrs. Kishka.
Yes.
Ms. Lowe's.
Yes,
Mr. O'Neill.
Yes,
And no Mrs. Savage.
Okay, moving on. Kaylee, do you have a report for us?
Yes, I do. All right. The high school has been extremely busy this spring. Recently, the Timberlane players put on their first musical in over a year called The Theory of Relativity. The show was a tremendous success for the players, and the entire high school would like to congratulate these performers for their incredible performance. In addition, the seniors got to have their annual Togo walk outside on the track. Other Timberlane students wore their best Timberlane pride spirit wear and cheered on the seniors as they walked the track. Honor societies recently hosted their induction ceremonies in which sophomores and juniors got inducted into societies of many different subject areas. These societies similarly conducted courting ceremonies for their outgoing seniors. Senior prom was held Saturday, May 22nd outdoors at the high school, and the senior class would like to sincerely thank the administration, faculty, and parent volunteers and many others for making this event possible. Student Council elected their new officers for the remainder of the school year and is looking forward to having some incoming members join them for the next school year. And lastly, Timberlane faculty would like to say a huge thank you to their many pandemic substitute teachers who have been so flexible for the past year. And TRHS would love to thank these subs for their constant support and willingness to help students. The TRMS Tigers athletic teams have been enjoying the nice weather, and they're very thankful that their spring seasons are in full swing. Recently, 8th graders met a former United States federal court judge, Joseph N. LaPlante, who made his annual visit to TRMS to talk about what a member of a jury entails. Judge LaPlante ran students through a simulated jury pool and picked 12 jurors to serve on a jury deciding a fictional court case in court. This activity was a culmination of students reading and analyzing the classic play 12 Angry Men coming up in early June. 7th graders will have the opportunity to experience wildlife encounters to support their life science studies. And additionally, the middle school is very excited for upcoming 8th grade team celebrations, which will occur in the evening on June 16th. Sandown North students recently participated in a readathon in which over 130 students read for over 36,000 minutes. And Mrs. Sweeta's 4th grade class worked with their librarian, Mrs. Ross, to research religions. They then created dioramas with their families at home based on their research. Additionally, the 4th graders have had reading buddies with the High School English Honor Society, and for their end of their time together, the Honor Society students are sending the Sandown North pizzas for lunch, and they've really enjoyed their time together. Pollard 4th graders had their annual rocket launch day. That has been a Pollard tradition for over 17 years. Each year, Pollard 4th graders build and decorate their own rockets and launch them in the back of the school. Pollard 5th graders launched their rockets since they were unable to launch theirs last spring. And this is an event that Pollard students really look forward to while they're at Pollard and still remember for long after they leave. Atkinson Academy has been very busy as well. Grades 4 and 5 took and completed the NHSAS testing, and grade 3 did as well. The grade 2 social studies curriculum focused on learning about the town they live in. And this year, since the students couldn't go to the important locations in Atkinson, the grade 2 team worked with Dean Zanello to create a video titled All About Atkinson. The students were interacting with the video and created projects based on what they were learning. The Atkinson staff would also like to thank their PTA for their recent work. TLC has had many fun events planned for the end of the year. The Kona Ice Truck is coming for students on June 4th, and Wildlife Counters on June 10th for all students, linking to their recent animal habitat unit. And that's what I have. That I would also like the opportunity to, on behalf of the student body, regarding the music department, when that's a good time to do so. I'm prepared to do so now, but if not, if today, like right now, is not a good time, then that's all right.
Kim, you're muted.
Sorry, you cut out just a little. What was it you were asking?
I did want to speak on behalf of the student body regarding the music department and concerns with that. I didn't know if now was a good time to do so, or if I should wait until a later point in the meeting.
So are you asking in essence to speak in the delegate session
Yes,
for the limited amount of time of 3 minutes?
yes.
Okay, why don't you go ahead, because that's the next portion of the meeting and you're already speaking. So please go ahead.
Okay, on behalf of the Timberlane student body, I would like to express my sincere concerns for the replacement of the Performing Arts Center director position. The Performing Arts Department is one of incredible significance to an immense amount of students. Without permanent replacement of this position, the future of the Music and Performing Arts Department at Timberlane is being jeopardized, and students are heavily concerned on this matter. The Timberlane Band is one of the best bands in the state, chorus and orchestra alongside, and I've had students tell me that they go to football games solely to watch the marching band perform. Timberlane musical ensembles have worked to perform the national anthem at community events and live stream musical performances all throughout the pandemic, and have even performed at places like the Park Street Church in Boston. These ensembles have come to empower individuals through performance, and every year the music department inspires several graduating seniors to carry on their musical careers, majoring in musical theater, music education, and musical performance. The Triad Music Honor Society is the one and only academic honor society at Timberlane that freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors may all be a part of. And this organization has worked incredibly hard to preserve musicianship and support the performing arts at Timberlane. The Timberlane players put on around 6 plays and musical per year during typical times, and the students that are part of these performances give up every afternoon of their lives, vacations, summers, and more to provide the community with, yet again, the performing arts. Students that are part of the Timberlane music program excel in what they do and work incredibly hard to do so. Each year, Timberlane students are given the opportunity to audition for NHMEA, classic, and jazz all-state festivals. Oftentimes, you can look at the list of students that got accepted from schools all over the state, and surprisingly enough, neighboring schools often have 3 to 4 accepted students, if even that many. For comparison, Timberlane had 6 girls accepted into the choir alone. Today, I met with the high school's new principal, and the first thing I was asked is what my favorite part about Timberlane was. And I didn't hesitate for a second. I told him that I love that everyone has an opportunity at Timberlane and everyone gets a chance to find something that they're passionate about and a chance to pursue it. Everyone has their thing, whether it's music or chess or student government or sports, and equal opportunities to pursue them at Timberlane. Removing a director position from the music department will slowly start to deteriorate this program, and not every student will be able to pursue their passions to do what they love to do. Though I am indeed only a high school student, I speak on behalf of hundreds of students throughout the district. And not only do I speak for the high schoolers who may perhaps be leaving behind music with them a year or so, but for younger students, if not the high schoolers who have grown to excel in musical performance, and I would like to shine light on the future of this program. For the kindergarteners and first graders who are just learning what music is, and the second graders putting on their first play, to the third, fourth, and fifth graders who are just learning to pick up instruments. These students are the future of this music program, and without a permanently filled PAC director position, the said future is uncertain for these students. These students are simply beginning to find their passions, and each and every one of them deserves an avenue to pursue it. And in summary of all my previously stated sentiments, I would like to respectfully call upon Dr. Brian Cochran and the school members alongside me to reconsider filling this position permanently. Future of students in the Timberlane Music Department. This means so incredibly much to such a large variety of students, and I sincerely hope that the permanent replacement of this position is considered. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Moving on to the rest of the delegate session, I'm calling these in the order at which I received them. Ryan Hinchcliffe from Plastow.
Okay, I'm going to bring him on shortly. He may actually appear as a panelist, but he will have the ability to speak.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Hinchcliffe.
Hello, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes, awesome. Thank you. First, I just want to thank the committee for this platform. I really appreciate it. So what brings me here tonight is we have a fifth grade student at Pollard. She is a hockey player. She plays for an elite all-girls hockey team. She'll be moving to sixth grade. So in being new to the area, the district, I'm from Massachusetts, been here about 8 years. I just inquired with the region or the Timberlane athletic director about the opportunities for girls when it comes to high school hockey. And the athletic director was very nice. In the age of COVID, he actually answered his phone, which was refreshing, which was a surprise. He let me know that the only opportunity for girls in the Timberlane district to play hockey is on the boys team, which isn't a problem if that's, fine and that's what you want to do. Girls hockey, there's no checking. Boys hockey, there is checking. So, there's always the head trauma aspect of playing with the boys. So I asked him, are there any waiver opportunities? Massachusetts, if your school district does not offer a sport, you are allowed to request a waiver to play for a neighboring community. Athletic director said that is not available in New Hampshire. I said, well, how can my daughter, actually our three daughters, all three daughters play hockey. The other two are younger. when they get to high school. He said the only option would be to play with the boys Timberlane high school hockey team. He said you could call the governor's office, start at the top, call the governor's office kicked me down to the Department of Education kicked me back down to the local board. So I'm here today. Massachusetts, it's extremely common to have a co-op girls high school hockey team. Methuen in Tewksbury has one. 3 years ago, they won the state championship. Right over the line, Haverhill, Pentucket, North Andover has a co-op girls hockey team. 2 years ago, they were rated first in the state. So I'm kindly requesting, somehow, some way, this district just start a narrative and try to create some type of co-op that would allow girls in the district that want to play high school hockey have the opportunity to play high school hockey. I know of at least 7 girls that are in this district, 5th and 6th graders that play hockey. And, come 2-3 years from now, those 6 or 7 elite athletes will not have an opportunity to play. And what that does is it forces families like us to leave the district, whether that be prep school, Central Catholic. That's not something, we want to do. And typically most high school athletes play, multiple sports. So, I don't know what else to do. So I'm coming to you guys, hopefully planting a seed. So eventually when my daughters and other girls in the district get to high school, they'll be able to enjoy the shade from the tree, from the seed that we all plant. And they do have an opportunity to play high school hockey. Whether it's a co-op team with, Salem, Wyndham, I don't know. That's, it's not something, obviously I can make happen, but I'm more than willing to work with you guys to make it happen. If you need parent involvement, if you need me to speak somewhere else, I'd be more than happy to do it. But this, I think, is my starting point. So I'm hoping we can make it happen.
Okay.
So that's
Thank
all
you.
I have.
I think we got the gist of what you're asking for, and we don't usually go back and forth during delegates. This is actually a rather unique sort of question. I'm sure it's something that I'll request the superintendent to take a further look at some future point. So thank you for bringing it to our attention. I'm always looking for more opportunities for our student athletes. So thank you. Moving on, and welcome to the district. Moving on to Elizabeth Plastow.
I don't see Elizabeth connected at the moment. If she's on and raise her hand, I can bring her into the meeting. But I'm not seeing her account active at the moment.
Let me move. I'll move on and come back. If you see her later, Dean, let me know.
I will.
Jackie Widola Atkinson.
She will be connecting momentarily.
Ms. Widola, go ahead.
You hear me all right?
Yes, you can. You need to make sure if you have more than one device, that it's muted, because I think I'm getting a little feedback.
1 second, sorry. Thank you. How's that?
I think that's better.
Great. My name is Jackie Widola. I am the daughter of the woman who was arrested at the last board meeting. This is the speech I was going to give then. When I drop my child off at school at Sandown North, I'm confronted with a sign that reads, "Follow your North Star," and I love that. But the next line reads that we are the village, and I believe in the reasonable idea of that original saying. A close community is important. The sign contradicts this to me, and it's kind of exposed in my reasons for my speech tonight. I strongly believe in a natural law and the constitutional law. So this means that I bear the full weight and responsibility and the full authority as a parent of my child. I'm here tonight to remind the board that any and all actions that would impact the physical and emotional health of our children is solely the parent's responsibility. The decision of you, the board, to require masks on our children is precisely why our society has these laws, to protect my rights as a parent and my ability to protect my child. It's why your positions are elected positions. It's why you're accountable to us. It's why the mask mandate never applied to our schools and students in the first place. The board's responsibility is to govern the school according to our authority. Your responsibility is to fulfill goals of enhancing and improving academic outcomes, not health outcomes. You're in violation of your oaths. You're breaking public health laws. You have usurped the parental rights of this district by enforcing this policy. And now you seem to refuse to rationally consider the lawful and scientific evidence against it. It's not for you to govern the health and well-being of my child. You are not the village. We, the parents and private citizens, are the village. Masks are not free of harm. They do not promote health in our healthy children, and the impact on their cognitive development and the knowledge and skills to understand the world around them is extremely obscured and confused by this policy. It rejects science. It rejects what we know about COVID. It rejects our laws. It makes our children reject each other, and it rejects a North Star. COVID does not equate to a severe and inevitable death, and yet you make our children bear the weight of this global scale as if it was so. I don't understand how you can uphold these immeasurable psychological harms to our children, emotionally and physically damaging. This policy is greater impact to them than COVID is a risk to them. Our schools are fostering fear, and how this is translated to our children, the idea that everyone is a threat to public health, so forcing masks on our children and to be distant, it's dehumanizing. And the accompanying humiliation and shame and distress that is put on our children who believe that they're responsible for this, it's shame on us. All of this prevents them from simply enjoying a normal process of life. It doesn't fulfill your responsibility to improve or enhance the academic outcomes of our children. It really suppresses them. So I put it to you to end the mask policy tonight, and the board needs to acknowledge its lack of authority on this and recognize that our laws and our parental rights always supersede any policy of the school board. And that's all I'd like to say tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to Laura Roy from Plastow.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay, my name is Laura Roy from Plastow. Thank you for having me. I have written to you, the superintendent, and the school board twice in the past month, and I received one quick reply from Dr. Cochran and a response from Mrs. Kishka, and I thank them for being the only ones to respond to me, a parent that they represent. My concern is something that needs to be addressed immediately. There is absolutely no need to continue with outdoor mask wearing at this point, and I'm asking my representatives to allow all parents to make the decision as to whether our own children wear a mask or not outside for the last 10 days of school, especially with a heat wave coming. I do not want you to make the decision for me any longer. Normally, as has always happened, we all worry about the heat inside schools without air conditioning being available. And I can't even comprehend the fact that it's going to be close to 100 degrees next week and these kids have to wear masks over their faces. It is a dangerous situation, and you are putting our kids in, and you will be held liable if something happens to any one of them. Our kids are not sick, and allowing them to play maskless outside for a few minutes will not bring on an outbreak of COVID. You have already harmed them socially and emotionally with all the restrictions, inconsistencies, and forced remote learning. And I'm afraid that with the hot weather here, that you will harm them physically as well. That is not putting our kids first or protecting them in any way. Please listen closely to these numbers from the New Hampshire Department of Health and Human Services as of June 2nd, 2021. These are important factors in determining these kinds of decisions. There are 0 new cases of COVID in our entire county as of yesterday. There are 0 cases in our schools, not 1. And the last case was reported to the state on May 21st. This to me does not indicate a danger, a pandemic, or a crisis. The current science and data does not support keeping masks on these children. Why are you making them wear masks still? Why? We need to keep progressing toward getting back to normal as quickly as possible. This has to be a #1 priority. where our decision makers finally put the kids first at this point where there are no health concerns for our community. This isn't happening quick enough in order to keep our kids safe. Please don't only follow CDC guidelines. They apply to New York City as well as small town New Hampshire. That makes no sense. Please listen to our governor, who knows our state's situation and has determined that it's okay to end the mask mandate. Please remember that he said at the beginning of the school year that his executive order shall not apply to educators, students, and staff within K-12 schools. Please realize that Massachusetts kids are maskless now outside, and their numbers are not zero like ours. And Wyndham has also just made masks optional for their district starting Monday. This is a simple request for our representatives to stop making our decisions for us and let us decide what we deem safe for our children. And again, while there is no threat to the health of our community. Finally, the Memorandum of Agreement, or MOU, signed by the TTA and school board states on page 6 under a section titled Authority, the parties agree to continue to work together in good faith to discuss and, if necessary, modify this MOU as conditions necessitate. The current conditions I just laid out for you in the statement necessitate modifying this MOU. I respectfully ask that you revisit and modify this MOU with the TTA and make the masks optional immediately. Thank you.
Kim, you're on mute again.
Yeah, I know. Next up, Rose Love from Danville.
Hi, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. Hi, my name is Rose Love, and I've never spoken in a group like this before. So thank you, Timberlane School Board members, for being diligent in hearing my story. I am a single mother to children who are being part-time homeschooled by me in person and by their extended family via FaceTime at the kindergarten level. By the way, my kindergartners are taking private music classes and are excited for their musical future. And I hope that can be at Timberlane. So I'm recently supported by many of my neighbors in Danville and surrounding towns to courageously speak on behalf of my children who have not been enrolled in the Timberlane School District yet because of my unwillingness and extreme uncomfortability with anyone in my family wearing a mask or getting an experimental shot. This is my right, this is my choice. And we do not subscribe to the narrative of wearing masks or getting experimental shots, and we never will. Therefore, I have not enrolled my children into public or private school. And because I am a single mother to them, and I'm their primary and full-time caretaker without help from their father, who lives in another state, I am feeling stressed and overwhelmed with the many hats that I have to wear each day. If you can please just imagine for a few seconds right now about how challenging it is to take on the role of being a mother who nurtures and supports, and the role of a father who protects and provides. It's one person doing that. That's me. You may get a glimpse of my everyday struggles and triumphs. So my current technique is unsustainable and it's not working. And I'm looking for a school that I can trust to have my children to learn and grow in, where my rights as their parent are strongly respected, seen and heard, understood, and put into the daily curriculum by all the teachers, staff, school board members, and superintendents alike. If your school board will please vote to remove masks from all children today and going forward, I will feel good enough to enroll mine in your school. Otherwise, if you do not, then I will have to continue carrying this heavy load by myself to figure out what my next steps are for my children's education, whether that be homeschool or moving to another district or moving to another state where truly they are free, just like our state motto seems to swear by, which is to live free or die. And I love and honor the state's motto. And one thing that I do subscribe to is that it does take a village to raise even one child. So I'm asking, please help me, your neighbor, by carrying a small piece of this heavy load so that I can create a stable, comfortable, and thriving environment for my children to learn in, by all of you voting to remove masks from all of our children today. If Wyndham, Florida, Tennessee, Texas, Idaho, Arkansas, Iowa, Missouri, Montana, North Dakota, Oklahoma, and more can do this, then so can we. I believe in us. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Next is Stephanie Apex from Danville.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead, please.
First, I want to say that Kaylee, I believe her name was Kaylee, did an amazing job speaking on behalf of the Music and Theater Arts program. I truly hope the board has listened to her with open hearts. The Theater Arts program have given my children so much joy and hope this past year and previous years. And sometimes I feel like we would have been lost without these amazing programs. I did email each board member individually this morning, and I ask that you please take the time and read this email, as it's extremely personal and private. I know you're all busy and probably getting flooded with emails, but it is personal, and I hope that you read it. I hope that each board member is listening carefully to the parents speaking tonight. If there was ever a goal for COVID, it would be 0. And the bottom line is we have 0 new COVID cases in our district. In our entire county, there's 0. Please think about that. It really doesn't get better than that. And it is an amazing goal that we have reached. Please understand, I'm not coming at you as an anti-masker. I'm not asking you to ban masks in the district or in the schools. I'm begging you to please lift this mandate and give parents the ability to make the best and safest decisions for our children. Us parents, we know what's best for our children, and trust me, we want to keep our babies safe. Fact of the matter is, starting Saturday, we have a heat wave coming. This weekend, it's going to reach over 90 degrees. By the time our school doors open on Monday, it's going to be sweltering hot in those buildings. Temperatures are expected to break 95+ degrees Monday and Tuesday. Please do not force us to send our children into these buildings to learn. We know what's best for our kids. It's our most important job as their parents. It's keeping them safe. We will do that. Please do what other local districts like Wyndham have done. Trust that the parents will do what is best for our individual children. Lift the indoor and outdoor mask policy and support all of the children, support all of the parents, those who choose to wear masks and those who do not. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Let's see, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna pull this up. Joanne Toomey from Plastow. Go ahead, Ms. Toomey, if you can unmute, please. Dean, can you unmute? Go ahead, Ms. Toomey.
Hi, thank you very much for letting me speak. I actually addressed my issue to the school board via email not too long ago this evening and received a response, which I appreciate. And that is what I was wishing to discuss. So I thank you. And I don't need any more of your time.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
There was one person that we missed. Liz Costa, is she on or not, Dean?
I believe she's not. She sent me a message. She was going to read a letter from Mrs. Sampson, who doesn't have electronic access. But unfortunately, Ms. Costa is still on her way home from work, so she cannot do that this evening.
Okay, if she wants to do that later, have her reach out.
I will let her know.
Okay, so I think we're finished with delegates and individuals. Moving on to the next item on the agenda, which is the Reopening update. Board members, in your packet, you have some information on the reopening update. Hang on, the first one, if you look in your packet, 7A is masks at end of year events. Are there any questions on that? For those that are not have access to this?
Just one, Kim. I didn't see a date that it would take effect. Is that immediate?
Could somebody speak to that?
Yes, well, I think the administration is looking for it to become immediate because they have events starting right away. So they don't want to do some events one way and some the other. But
Thank you.
I'll let Mark or Sandy or Lucy speak to it.
Are you looking for an action on this?
Yes, they're looking for an immediate action, whether or not we approve this to move forward.
So you're looking for an action on this executive summary, correct?
Yes,
Yes,
that's my understanding.
yes, we are.
Okay, is there a motion on this?
Kim? Madam Chair?
Yes.
Kim, because seeing how we have stuff in our packets and seeing in more than half these people, that's what they're talking about and watching tonight. Can someone run us through this? We have the reading material in front of us, but if someone could run us through what you're talking about tonight so the people at home know what's going on.
Or possibly screen share it, yeah.
Well, basically, if you read the second paragraph, this is from the New Hampshire Department of Public Health, I assume.
Yes.
Levels of community transmission decreasing. They recommend schools and childcare agencies remove masks in outdoor settings, including at recess and during non-contact sports. Still recommending physical distancing whenever possible. So the administration is looking for us to approve this and implement the following protocols. You know, they'll still live stream. They will still have specific attendance limits to ensure social distance. We ask to continue district's daily monitoring protocol and not come in if you're sick. Individuals don't need to wear a mask outside unless they desire to do so. They do want people to socially distance. We ask that family groups stay as a cohort and remain socially distanced from other families. And until at least June 30th, while indoors, all individuals will be required to wear a mask per current protocols and CDC guidance. So they're looking for us to approve this updated guidance.
I'll make a motion to approve the updated guidance.
Is there a second?
Second.
Barbara seconds. Discussion?
I do have, sorry.
Go ahead, Steve.
No, go ahead, Barbara. I'll go after you.
I have a question. Does this apply to recess as well?
Said it did.
It does say that.
Yes.
I did
It
not.
says
know
it in the
that.
second paragraph, Barbara.
Awesome.
Kim, I don't know the how this works, but I actually, I think this is a nice start. I would actually like to make a different motion. I don't know if that's possible to do right now or.
You'd have to amend it.
I'm sorry?
You'd have to amend the motion.
Okay, so I would like to amend this motion, if that's okay. And I would like to make a motion to end the mask mandate as of tomorrow and allow parents to make that choice as to whether their children should wear masks starting tomorrow.
I will second that.
Right, thank you. I make this motion, and I just want to give a little context to this. For those of you who are paying attention to this, I work at a hospital. I have been an advocate for masks and extremely conservative wearing masks. And I do believe at this point, in consultation with many doctors and experts in this field, along with the data, that the time is now for us to get back to a level of normalcy. And I do believe that we are in a good position to allow for parents to make that choice. And I would definitely support moving forward and ending that, not on June 30th, but ending that immediately.
So there's an amendment on the floor and there's a second on the amendment. Let's have a discussion on the amendment. Sheila.
Yeah.
Discussion on the amendment. Sandy Allaire, Mark, Lucy, Dr. Cochran. We have an MOU until June 30th.
Until the until the end of the school year, which would be June 18th is my interpretation.
I consider the end of the school year per that MOU, June 30th, because that would be the end of the 2021 calendar year. But my question to the three of you and Dana is, does this need to go through the TTA and the TSSU where these MOUs were agreed upon? Or can we arbitrarily make this vote? That's my question.
If we make the board has voted on and approved the MOU, it's been important to our ability to work with all of our employees to try and maintain a safe environment. If we violate the MOU, then clearly we'll have broken our word with the unions. Their response is unknown.
Their response is a no, and you've talked to them about this?
Unknown.
No, unknown. I'm sorry. Unknown. You know, we have two union presidents. Well, one union president that has been very vocal, reminding us consistently of this MOU. So this is where, you know, this is where we're caught between a hard place and a rock, Steve. Where the hard place being our parents, our students, and the rock being our unions, and being able to accommodate everybody and make everybody happy. And this is where we have been this entire year. And I don't know where to go with this motion.
Okay. Can I, let Kristen go, please? And Kelly?
So two things. Steve, I'm not against your motion one way or the other, but I wish we would keep them separate because I think you're going to get, I think people are going to vote a certain way that might vote one way on if they were keep two separate motions. So I would be more in favor of the executive summary, and if you would withdraw your amendment to do that. But then my thought is, again, echoing what Sheila said, we have the MOU, we have other things in place. I mean, and trust me, I'm the first one, I'd love to see the mask on. I'm all in favor of it. What I need to put out there too is, you know, we have this group on this side that says one thing and a group on this side, but we have a really big silent majority in the middle. And a lot of those are students. And a lot of those are high school students that are coming forward and saying, we've come this far. I don't care about wearing the mask inside. You know, I want to be able to get through my finals. I want to get through my senior events, my junior events, and make these things and not find out that we remove this mask policy and then all of a sudden we have an issue and we have a few people that come in sick and now suddenly we're quarantining teams during their playoffs or kids during graduation. We have these very important dates coming up that these kids have been looking forward to, especially this year. I mean, more so than not. I mean, we have kids that never even got it last year. They just had a prom successfully. The kids wore masks. They were fine. I mean, they were happy. They had fun because they got to at least have the event. And I don't want to be the person to vote to say remove masks and then all of a sudden find out, you know, the volleyball team can't play in a playoff game because 5 people showed up without masks and they were too close to them and now they all have to quarantine or something. These are events that these kids have worked hard for. They are, what, 2-3 weeks away from finishing school. So I am very reluctant about removing the masks, especially for those seniors with graduation on less than 10 days away. They have a senior picnic, they have graduation, they have 4 different awards nights, there are banquets for these athletes that hit their spring season, you have playoffs. So as far as would I love to see the mask on? Absolutely. But now I'm very nervous and hesitant and I can't support. I'll have to vote no on this motion, which I would have voted yes on the idea of the outside stuff, but not the inside because of that reason. Also echoing Sheila, I'd be more inclined for a second motion potentially that says, if, you know, we just did this with the athletics before, if a successful renegotiation of the MOU can be done with TTA and TSSU, then we authorize Dr. Cochran to make that decision to remove the mask mandate. But we don't have that, and I don't want to violate what we've done. We did reach this agreement at the beginning, and I think we put that into Dr. Cochran's hands. So two separate motions, I think makes sense. But I also, like I said, I'm hesitant on the fact of those seniors and those kids, all of them, finals, awards, band stuff, everything.
8th grade, 5th grade.
Okay,
kindergartners.
Can we time? I think Kristen's making a good point. And before I let Kelly speak, I think a more appropriate motion on this would be for the board to request that the superintendent negotiate the MOUs with TTA and TSSU with regards to the masks
Indoors.
But that would be my suggestion. There is an amendment to the original motion on the floor. So we need to vote the amendment first, and then we can vote the motion that was on the floor.
Unless Steve and Sean withdraw the.
Unless they withdraw, that's their call.
I will withdraw my motion right now, and I will come up with a second motion after.
I am not going to withdraw my motion. Please call the question. We owe it to the people of our district where we stand on this. I'm sorry.
Call the question.
That's fine. This is to vote on the amendment. Kat, could you read back the amendment?
Amendment is to end the mask mandate as of tomorrow.
Okay.
Can I just
Could you
ask
take a
point of
roll
order?
call?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Kelly.
I just don't know how this works. If this fails, can we then vote on the
We're
original?
back on
Yes.
the original,
Okay.
yes.
Just want to make sure. Thank you.
Go ahead, Kat.
Opposed?
No.
Mr. Boyle,
No.
Farah,
No.
Mr. Finnegan,
Yes.
Ms. Gentile,
No.
Mrs. Kishka,
No.
Ms. Lowe's,
No,
Mr. O'Neill,
Yes,
Mrs. Savage,
No.
Okay, we're back to the original motion. Is there any discussion on the original motion? If no further, Barbara?
Yeah.
I just wanted to thank them for stepping forward and lifting the mask mandate for outdoor events, especially in time for all these events. Thank you very much for your work on this.
For
Kristen?
clarification to occur immediately, correct?
correct.
I I don't know
Yeah.
that that was stated in the.
There's no date on it, Kristen, so it's immediate.
But to start effective immediately.
Tomorrow.
can we have the original motion, reread so that we can know what we're voting on?
It was very short. It was just to approve the updated guidance.
For the executive summary that was provided in the board packets.
Okay.
Kat, can you take a roll call on that motion?
Ms. Bose,
Yes.
Mr. Boyle,
Yes.
Dr. Farah,
Yes.
Mr. Finnegan,
Yes.
Gentile,
Yes.
Mrs. Kishka,
Yes.
Ms. Lowe's,
Absolutely, yes.
Mr. O'Neill,
Yes,
Mrs. Savage,
Yes.
Okay,
This-
Is-
Kim, Steve?
Steve,
Can I make a motion to allow for Dr. Cochran as a superintendent to negotiate the MOU with the TTA did I miss anything? To allow,
and TSSU to negotiate on behalf of the board,
yes,
the
yes. to nego-
MOUs with TTA and TSSU. Yes.
Thank you. Yes, as Kim just stated.
Second,
Any
Discussion?
discussion?
I would just ask,
Kristen.
would you want to add to that motion that, and if he successfully reaches a new MOU or an amendment, that he himself, without coming back to the board,
Yes.
can.
Yeah.
implement immediately.
Right.
Well,
Regarding.
a point of order here, point of order. What will happen is if there's a new MOU, the board chair will sign for the board, correct,
Okay.
Dr. Cochran?
That's
Yes.
correct.
So come to me for signature.
Okay. I just want to clear that we're all on the same page. That
Yeah,
if
it doesn't have to, yeah,
if it's negotiated, it can move forward.
right.
without
This
coming
is,
back
this
to
is
all
all,
of
yeah.
us. Doesn't have to wait till the 17th. I don't want people in the audience to think that we would then have to wait till our next meeting.
No.
But that would require that the chair is given authorization to execute such document on the behalf of this board. So that would have to also be part of that motion.
I do not think so. Typically, Dr. Cochran, isn't this considered part of the personnel or committee, subcommittee of the board taking these actions? At least that's what I thought in the past it was.
Which, the vote on the MOU?
The approval of the MOU.
If I recall correctly, the approval of the MOU was a vote of the entire board.
Okay, so then we are going to
Thank you,
need
Dr.
to
Cochran.
authorize the chair.
I make a motion. Am I doing this right? To
Amend the
allow you-
motion. Amend the motion.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, I amend Steve's motion to allow for the chair of the board to sign the MOU on behalf of the board.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
First and seconds. Any discussion on the amendment?
This question,
Brian?
is the verbiage in there, does the state regarding the masking of indoors, is that in the motion?
The motion is to, right now, we're amending the motion so that the chair will have the authority to sign a new MOU with the two unions. The motion itself is to authorize the superintendent to negotiate on behalf of the board with the TTA and the TSSU to cease wearing a mask indoors.
That's right. Okay, that's what I want to make sure.
That's what we're doing. So we need to vote the amendment first. So I need further discussion on the amendment. If not, Kat, can you take a vote, please?
Ms. Bose,
Yes.
Mr. Boyle,
Yes.
Dr. Farah,
Yes.
Mr. Finnegan,
Yes.
Ms. Gentile,
Yes.
Mrs. Kuska,
Yes.
Ms. Lose,
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill,
Yes.
Mrs. Savage.
Yes.
Okay, now that approves the amendment. Now we're back to the original motion, which is to have the superintendent negotiate on behalf of the board. Any further discussion on the motion? Kat, can you take a roll call, please, on that motion?
Ms. Bose,
Yes.
Mr. Boyle,
Yes.
Dr. Farah,
Yes.
Mr. Finnegan,
Yes.
Ms. Gentile,
Yes.
Mrs. Kuska,
Yes.
Ms. Lose,
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill,
Yes.
Mrs. Savage.
Yes.
Okay.
Can I just,
Kristen?
one quick thing that I just want to put out to the administrators and whatnot, is something, I'm not sure if they're considering this or not, but I'm having several parents and students asking me, part of the prom procedure is that when the graduation, I'm sorry, is completed, everyone is to immediately leave the premises and leave the grounds, so they're not able to stick around, do pictures. Everyone's asking if that can be reconsidered. I'm not asking for this board to do it. I just want to put it out there and, for everyone to hear that everyone is asking if that can be reconsidered so that kids can do pictures with their friends, peers, and, teachers at the school. Otherwise, you're going to have people just disjointed all over town and whatnot. But it was a request that's been by multiple people, and I would ask for that to be reconsidered.
Okay, Steve?
Sorry, just really quickly to put this mask piece to rest, I just wanted to thank the board and the administrators for listening. I know this is a contentious and a challenging time, and I just appreciate everybody considering each aspect of this, and am really proud of all of us for being able to take this in stride and continue to move forward. So thank you, everybody.
Okay, thank you. Sheila?
I just want to mention that I don't know if Brian or Sandy saw my email that I sent out this evening.
Yes, Sheila, I did.
Okay, could you just let me know what's
I have
going on with
reached
that
out.
at some point?
Sure. Yep, we've reached out to the high school administration who's planning
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
in graduation. So we're working
Thank
on
you.
it to get information.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
she didn't have policy committee, Sheila, so I didn't check it, sorry.
All good. It's all good.
I can vouch for that.
All right, so the next item that we're looking to take action on is the executive summary on the mass practices for summer programs. This is basically saying that they'll continue daily monitoring, and as far as masks are not going to be required as long as students are seated more than 6 feet away from the next closest individual for non-vaccinated people. Sheila?
Before you make a motion, Barbara, I just got one question for Mark or Lucy or whoever's doing this. Traditionally, we don't have a lot of summer school kids, especially at the elementary level. I mean, what are we talking? 2 classrooms, 3 classrooms of summer school?
So at all the elementary schools, Sandown North, Pollard, Danville, and Atkinson, they have some version of summer camp, which is usually up to 25, 30 kids. But to your point, with 2 to 3 staff members, they could be spaced
They
over
can be
multiple
spread out,
classrooms.
so it's not going to be an issue for mass.
Yes.
Okay. Now, Mark, here's your turn. Middle school, high school, same idea?
Correct. We do have students coming in for different reasons in the summer. Sometimes it's extra help, sometimes it's makeup, but typically it's a far smaller group of kids. So yes, we feel as though we can spread them out quite effectively.
I wanted to put that out there so that we're not going into a heart attack that we have mass in summer school when it's 90 degrees in July, and that there's enough room that we should be able to do 6 feet apart with no problem.
Correct.
Go ahead, Barbara, it's all you.
Well, I also had a question for Mr. Pedersen. Remember at the start of the year, and we still have it, is the number of cases in Rockingham County. We have the red, green, blue, no, the yellow, red, green, right? The traffic light. How many cases is it when it turns from green to yellow?
Off the top of my head, I can't remember. I know we're not in red anymore. I know that for sure.
We're in green. We're in green. We're totally in green. We have 7 cases in the whole county right now. So I was just trying to, I couldn't find the information, but yeah, pop quiz, sorry. All right. I am going to make an amendment to this.
There's no motion on the floor yet.
There's no motion on the floor.
Can I make a motion and an amendment?
Well, it would be silly. I'm sorry. It doesn't make sense to make a motion and an amendment. Make your motion with whatever it is that you want to make the motion on. You don't make a motion. There's no motion on the floor.
Okay. I motion that we accept the extended summer, extended school year policy as documented with the difference that well, I wanted to say a few words, if I could, to the teachers, like 2 minutes. Is that okay?
I'm sorry. You either need to make a motion or you just need to have a discussion, because you're in the middle of a motion.
Yeah, that's true. I would prefer to do a discussion at this point.
Go ahead.
All right. First, I want to express my appreciation for our teachers and staff at the end of a difficult year. We don't say this enough. I truly appreciate the effort and creativity that went into ensuring each student, in person or remote, got access to as much education as we could fit into this crazy COVID year. I'm seriously impressed that many teachers were able to teach in person and remote classes at the same time, picking up new tools and techniques and smoothly transitioning whenever we had to go to full remote. I value our staff and want to ensure you receive competitive compensation and have an environment where you want to engage with our students for years to come. I want to express my gratitude to the students who have been very good about wearing their masks, washing their hands, keeping their distance, and keeping the number of quarantines down. We're almost at the end of this school year, and like most of you, I will be glad to see it in the rearview mirror. Things have changed a lot in the last few months. All of our teachers who wanted to be vaccinated were provided that opportunity on school time. As of this week, the number of new COVID cases each day in Rockingham County is in the single digits. We're back in the green for number of active cases in the county. It's time to reset the bar back to normal for the coming year, starting with summer school in July. I really appreciate the less restrictive mask policy proposed by Mrs. Allaire, Mrs. Kanotis, and Mr. Peterson. However, I would like to take it a step further as long as conditions are as favorable as they are now. I would like to motion that we make masks optional indoors and out as of July 1st, when the memorandum of understanding is over, as long as the number of active cases of COVID is in the green for Rockingham County as measured by the number of active cases reported by the New Hampshire Department of Health and Human Services as per our criteria set at the beginning of the year. Pat, I can send this to you. Thank you.
I guess I'll second that for discussion.
Hang on. The motion is to make masks optional indoors and outdoors as of July 1.
Correct.
How does that differ from what is in the executive summary right here?
The executive summary includes masks indoors.
And vaccination requirements,
Yeah, exactly.
documentation apparently.
I don't think it requires masks indoors. It says
No.
any fully vaccinated individuals will not need to wear a mask unless they desire to do so. It doesn't mention specifically
It
outdoors
says
or indoors.
non-vaccinated individuals will be required to wear a mask when they're seated less than 6 feet next to the next.
Yes, and that's what Sheila was referring to earlier when she said that that would not be got it.
That's not going to be the case.
Yeah,
is what I just-
if I can just make a point
Go
there,
ahead.
that next statement does say TRSD will work to create social distances of 6 feet or greater as a general mitigation strategy where spacing, staffing, and student development for student developmental level. So, yes, it says that while indoors, they will be required to wear a mask, but we will work at separating those students at 6 feet. So then they're not being required to wear masks due to social distancing.
So then adding this requirement now that they were all removed should be moot from your viewpoint then, because you're going to be able to accommodate the 6 feet or greater. Is that correct?
2 points. One, we hope to. 2, at some grade levels and developmental levels, students may not be able to keep themselves from getting closer than 6 feet. So that's the one of the caveats, you know what I mean? So.
And the youngest students can't get vaccinated. Children under 12 can't get vaccinated, and they're the ones that are going to have to wear the masks.
Our hope is that it wouldn't be an issue, but we know that we will have some cases where students, kids will be kids, and they're outside playing or they're inside during a break, and we know that it's going to be difficult in those cases, and so we put in a little bit of wiggle room there, so we have something that we can enforce if a child, for example, consistently wasn't able to do that. What options would we have, and how would we try to handle this so that the situation that we're able to keep the level of mask wearing and interaction at the levels that we want, but to do it safely. That's my take on it. I think Lucy had her hand up next. Dr. Farron.
Go ahead, Lucy.
I just wanted to add, to follow up on Dr. Cochran's point. Sheila had asked about the summer programs. The one program that we didn't talk about was ESY, which we're kind of calling all summer programs, but ESY is specific to our special education student population. One of the reasons that's in there is because staffing is changing and student numbers are changing. So we need to ensure that we have enough staff to be able to distance students at ESY. The other piece of that is students are scheduled at different times. It's not a show up at this time, everyone leaves at that time like our camps are. So in order for us to ensure distancing inside, we need to make sure that we have that availability before we can confirm and say that that will be the case in that program specifically. The other programs, we know that we can do that with.
Kelly, then Barbara.
I have a question for those that submitted this summary, and I recognize you may not be able to answer it. But should the current MOU be able to be successfully negotiated and indoor masks be lifted now? How might that change your guidance? for summer.
It would change it.
I just wanted to make sure, I mean, for the three of you whose names are on this executive summary, would that be something you'd be willing to reconsider? And again, if you can't answer now, that's okay.
I mean, we're clearly going to reach out to TTA and TSSU and their representatives, tomorrow morning, and ask them to engage in a conversation about this. I think both unions have been flexible over the course of this year at times to allow more students to have access to education. And I want to thank them for that, and I want to thank them for their continued hard work on behalf of our students. I hope they have a great and restful summer. It is something that we can certainly work towards, but we can't guarantee an endpoint. But I think it's worth that conversation, and we will be contacting them tomorrow morning.
The MOU expires at the end of this month, so come July 1, there's nothing in place.
I know. I was just wondering if things change sooner. I would assume this guidance for the summer might change.
Right. And sorry, before I entertain any more discussion on this, Ms. Hampe has requested to speak in regards to the MOU, so go ahead.
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I just want to say that a lot of discussion has been had about the MOU, and I just want to say thank you, especially to Sheila, for mentioning there is a process that we do need to follow. That's why we negotiate these things in good faith, just to make sure that we're all playing by the same rules. We certainly look forward to having a conversation when that can be scheduled, and just to mention that any change will need to be voted on by our memberships on each side. Thank you. Thank you for letting me speak.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Coral.
Barbara?
Just to further the discussion just a little bit, the motion I made specifically says the no masks is only when we are in the green. So there's almost no contagion going on in our district, in our county. So, I mean, at what point are we going to be safe taking down the masks if it's not when we have 0 cases in every town?
When it's negative, Barbara.
That.
Sheila, and then I'd like to call the question.
I get it, Kim. I know. It's so much time on this. But I have to go back to that MOU. And I kind of agree with the fact we're still following an MOU that won't exist as of June 30th. And that, I hate to say it this way, but it's done. It's done on June 30th. I mean, I'd love to be able to work out something between now and whatever the teacher's last day of school is, of course, because I'd like to make them more comfortable too. However, as far as summer school, that MOU is done. These children, I agree with Barbara, they can't get vaccinated. Especially for our special education students. I get that you can't keep them away from other kids, but we're talking July. We're talking 90 degrees. These schools don't have AC. I just, at what point? I guess that was what I'm asking. We don't have an MOU in place as of July 1st. Summer school does not start. ESY, any of that does not start until after July 1st. Am I correct? Everybody gets a couple of weeks off, rejuvenate. Whoever's teaching comes back in. I do have an issue with that, because I do think at this point in time where we are at low cases, I think, as long as, if the teachers want to wear a mask, more power to them. They can do that. But I think it's going to be awful hot in 3 weeks in July for these kids. That's all. I'm done, Kim. Call the question.
Brian needs to talk now.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. A few minutes ago, I asked for discussion, and I'm glad lots of discussion happened, but Sheila, you just stole some of my thunder.
Sorry.
June 30th will come and go. Let's all be honest. I expect these kids to go out and have a good summer. I expect them to be with their friends on the beaches all together. It's it. So yeah, that's why I support your motion, Barbara. So it's a different world now. Summertime.
Dr. Cochran?
It's been a long year and it's been a difficult year.
Mhm.
And a lot of people have stepped up and done great work on behalf of our kids.
Absolutely.
Custodians, admin assistants, administrators, teachers, paras, parents that have had, in some cases, a successful year because of their kids have navigated the situation well, and other families have really been impacted in a negative way. And I'm sure they can't wait for us to get back to something that's, more like our normal. And hopefully it will not be a new normal, but right back to where we were in pre-pandemic days. I just want to recognize how difficult it's been for virtually everybody within our district and our schools, and let them know that we appreciate the time, the efforts, the angst, the extra work that went into a lot of things, and I think we've been successful in keeping our people safe and our students safe, and I thank you for that.
Thank you. And I know that Barbara called out the staff, and I'm sure the rest of the board feels the same way. I do in particular want to call out people that we, sometimes get grouped in. I know the custodians over the course of the year have had to do many changes, had to work with a lot of different things. Maintenance people also those food service workers that are working in the kitchen. So let's not forget about all the support staff all the way down, everybody. So I do want to call
Absolutely agree.
those people. So
Agreed.
let's get back to this motion that's on the floor. Kat, please read back the motion so that we can have a vote on this motion.
Can I send that to you? No. We just have Barbara read the motion since she hasn't.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot to send it to you. I got caught up. I will send it to you now. I have it queued up. Actually it did change. So the motion is we make masks optional indoors and out as of July 1st, when the memorandum of understanding is over, as long as the number of active cases of COVID is in the green for Rockingham County, as measured by the number of active cases reported by the New Hampshire DHHS, as per our criteria set at the beginning of the year.
And seconded.
Kat, can you take a roll call on that?
Ms. Bose,
Yes.
Mr. Boyle,
Yes.
Dr. Farah,
No.
Mr. Finnegan,
Yes.
Ms. Gentile,
Yes.
Mrs. Kishka,
Yes.
Ms. Lowe's,
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill,
Yes.
Mrs. Savage,
Yes.
Okay, moving on. We are still now back to the school reopening update, the mass practices for summer programs. Looking for a motion to authorize the administration to move forward with this executive summary.
That executive summary, didn't that just get updated with Barbara's motion?
No,
Why is that?
I do not think it did. Is that, so that's what you're, that's the entire motion. So this is negating the executive summary.
For the summer?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Pretty much. There
Okay.
are no masks.
All right, let's move on then.
As long as it's green. Oh, well, if it isn't green, if it
Move
goes,
on then. You just said that negated that entire summary. We're gonna
as
now
long as it's
pick and
green,
choose.
but if it's not green, then it would
Doesn't
go
matter.
to that.
Motion back. We're good.
It's all good, Barbara.
Mr. Pedersen, do you have any questions in regards to that?
No, I do not.
All right. Moving on then. Is there anything else on the reopening update? Okay, next item is the facilities update.
And please note that this originally was always a HVAC update, and so we, as of last board meeting, changed it to facilities because it's involving a lot of the work that we're doing. You see a series of actions there. HVAC capital equipment replacement recommendations. 9 units are being looked at. There was a scheduled meeting at 9 a.m. this morning to review the equipment and answer any questions that potential bidders would have. Train continues to work in the high school. Notice we've spent the first $50,000 in repairs. We're waiting for additional cost estimates on other work. We're taking some significant action as it relates to energy costs, and also savings in terms of environmentally. We have the in-house LED relamping project. So we'll perform the balance of that work in-house because the incentives have decreased to the point where we're better off to do it that way. The award was to Northeast Electrical Distributors in the amount of just over $215,000. And our electrician is expecting to begin work on that soon. The C-Power Demand Response Project, we're getting information from some other districts, and we have received confirmation from Unitel confirming our participation in the program. We have posted and begun interviewing for the position of Plant Operations Director, and we'll continue in those efforts. And our solar energy project is moving forward based on information that we received from the Nashua and Dover models. And we're trying to navigate that piece and how we can arrange solar arrays on Sandown North Roof and other places. So that's the report from Mark Fournier and the rest of the facilities folks.
Any questions on that? Okay, moving on.
Yeah, had her hand up, I think.
Sorry, Marie, go ahead.
Sorry, I just wanted to tell to especially the public out there that are listening, we do have the Director of Plant Operations position open and available. It is posted in the website, also in Indeed. You or anybody that you know are interested in this position, I please encourage you to apply for this position. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on. The next item on the agenda is the SAU organizational chart.
I think we're getting closer based on our conversations. This is a little bit more complex and detailed version to look at. It distributes the reports slightly differently from last time. In this case, one of the changes is that the Director of Athletics and Director of Music at PAC would report to the Superintendent of Schools. I think that's traditionally, Director of Athletics almost always reports with a dotted line to high school and middle school principals but typically it's a superintendent. And my understanding is that the old Art Church, the Director of Music and PAC was to the superintendent as well. We see the Executive Director of position being the major reports for directors of secondary and elementary education, technology, and the principals. And if you look under the elementary assistant principals, is a combined effort with the Director of Elementary or Director of Secondary Education, and then matrix to the principal. So the two directors would be, and the principal would be involved with respect to supervision and evaluation of assistant principals. We see the positions on the left-hand side under the superintendent of special education, and we were able to have a meeting today of our new special ed director come July 1, and our assistant superintendent, Chris Kellen. So Chris and Kelly and I had our first conversation about preparing to wind down the year and start to put things in action over the summer. So a good start in that front. But in terms of the distribution, I think we're relatively close to some of the things that we were looking for in terms of better balance and reporting lines. So any questions or discussion? I don't know if there are any questions that would, or questions or discussions that may have to happen in non-public as it relates to individuals as opposed to positions, or if we want to talk about it at this point, what we want to talk about.
I have a question with regards to these directors of secondary education and elementary education.
Yep.
They are currently in the bargaining unit. I do not think that you can have people in the bargaining unit evaluating people that are in the same bargaining unit. How is that going to be resolved?
Dana, did you want to speak to that and the Nashua experience? Because
in Nashua, we do have the principals and the assistant principals in the same bargaining unit. We also, it's not we anymore, sorry. And in Nashua as well, the directors newly formed a union, and the assistant directors and the directors are in that same union. So it does happen. I have no answers past that. I often hear the reverse, that you can't do that, but there are 2 bargaining units in Nashua that do have that.
Would that not need the approval of, the board if of this to happen? Because, I mean, as I think Dr. Farrer is pointing out that there's a big conflict here, and that's why they're not supposed to be in the same bargaining unit.
There are different opinions with respect to that.
It depends if you're in the union or not.
Last time we moved this forward, Sean, this was the expectation here is, and we got to that we'll continue to discuss this until we find something that we believe is, I mean, we're still ticking the tires a little bit at this point in time, but the goal is to have an org chart that functions well, that the board will vote on and approve. There was a vote on one on the last time we had a discussion. So that is the intent, for the board to vote and to authorize this reporting structure and the positions within the reporting structure.
But this needs to go to council for a discussion about whether or not this is a feasible organizational structure given the bargaining unit, or whether or not these positions need to be negotiated out of the bargaining unit.
And I agree.
So we're not looking for approval. So I think what we need to do is to make a determination. We need to probably have a discussion with council about this.
Yes, and at the same time, to some extent, it's a matter. It may be a matter of conversations with the union representation about whether or not they have something very particular that they were concerned about. Because as is the case in Nashua, clearly it can be done. The question is can we do it here, and can we work to find an org chart and reporting structure that allows the appropriate amount of oversight and support and direction, and allows us to use our people effectively.
Well, that, and I also think then there would probably have to be some language incorporated into the proposed CBA for that.
Mm-hmm. Do we ever get an answer from council on the executive director position?
That position is not in the bargaining unit.
Correct.
We've gotten.
Is that your question, Sheila?
I just want to make sure that, we're checking with council and making sure that these positions are not within the bargaining unit, because I have the same feeling you do, Kim. I'm just not comfortable with that.
There was an executive director position with a slightly different title in the
Exactly.
original proposal.
Right.
And they did not request to have that title in the union.
Understood. However, this is a different title. It's an
Right.
executive director, but it's a different title.
But
That's
it
why
has-
I'm asking.
It has to
Dana.
be in the recognition clause, and it is not. The executive director, CNI, and is not in there.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Are any of the director positions in that? Just to clarify.
Yes, the director of secondary ed, director of elementary ed, this is the problem that I'm having with the structure as it exists because of this current personnel listed in the administrator's CBA.
I had a question.
Sorry, go ahead, Barbara. I can't see the whole, all I can see is a few people now. Go ahead.
So on this, the associate principals are reporting to the principals and then dotted line to a director?
To the directors, yes. Basically, the supervision and evaluation would be, would involve both the principals and the requisite director of elementary or secondary education.
Okay, one other question on this. What is the function or description of the coordinator that is beneath the principals?
We do not have a revised description at this point.
Okay.
I think that would be, we should be able to have that for the next board meeting without problem.
Okay. So is there any other discussion on this then? I don't think we can vote on it based on what we just discussed. Anything? Somebody want to jump in? Go ahead.
It's just confusing to have two bosses is all my only comment.
In terms of, well, one of the, in policy tonight, what we looked at was the, in fact, some of the policies as they related to the principal. So the principal is in charge of the personnel under them in the building. However, the director of elementary education or the director of secondary education is at a level that's allows them to help direct and guide principals, and we also want them involved in aspects of evaluation. So it's not an unusual structure, but we just have to make sure that as we move forward, we get the functionality that we want, the reporting lines that we want, and the ability to offer people support and guidance and direction.
And is there an ombudsman or somebody they can go to if they have two bosses that disagree?
Well, I think it's incumbent upon somebody further up the chain to make sure we get agreement. I might be that somebody.
It's okay to jump the chain of command to if your commands don't agree.
Yep.
Okay.
Barbara, can you stop sharing screen so I can see everybody? Thank you. All right. Thank you. Any other discussion on this? So let's, if not, we will revisit this at the next meeting. The next item on the agenda is the business curriculum first read. Amy, are you going to speak to this?
I believe that we have somebody from the business department that is going to speak to specifics.
Yes. That'll be Mark Pedersen is going to just briefly introduce this. And then we have Jennifer Mitchison, who is currently our dean of many areas, but of our business department, who will speak to the units themselves.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So just for some background and context, it's been almost 5 years since the board has seen a comprehensive curriculum document presentation. Some of you were not on the board at that time. So we just want to highlight some aspects of the curriculum process to get approved as we go through this approval process. So the curriculum is written in the Understanding by Design, or UBD, It's written by committees of teachers, and it is published as fully aligned K-12 articulated curriculum on the district website. So that all curriculum documents are on the district website. The published curriculum, as you're going to see, those documents are considered what we call stage 1 in UBD, and that includes the competency, standards, acquisition, et cetera. So in years past, we've done a very comprehensive review of curriculum and the processes used. But after the curriculum has been written or revised by groups of teachers, it is first vetted by the academic dean, curriculum coordinator, and or curriculum directors prior to being presented at the curriculum and assessment committee for both a first and second read. Then once approved at CNA, the curriculum goes to the school board for, again, a first and second read per TRSD policy. So just as sort of a background as to why we're bringing it to this group, it's about the more significant changes that come across this. Spelling errors and things like that usually sort of get fixed by us, but the significant changes do have to go through this process. So I am going to turn it over to the academic dean, Jen Mitchinson, who's going to show you those changes that we're looking for.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me tonight. So the major changes that you're going to see in these curriculum documents that you have are under the standard section and then the competencies. So for the standards, what the teachers wanted to do was just sort of add and subtract standards that were listed in the previous versions that didn't really fit the units of study and didn't really fit in with the context of the whole course in some cases, that were sort of just put in. And, and that's why we go through this process, we teach, and then we reflect and figure it out. So that's one area where you'll see some major differences. And then the other differences is, again, in the competency. And what you'll notice is the bottom 3 competencies listed in every unit are always the same. So those are our content area literacy competencies. Those are still there. They're in every single curriculum document. Aside from ELA, theirs are a little bit different given that that is their content. But what you'll notice is the top 2 or 3 competencies that are listed are going to be different. And the essence of the competencies have not changed. So it's still in the same format. But again, because we adjusted the standards, we then needed to take a look at the competencies to make sure that the competencies reflected the standards in these curriculum units. And again, so that everything's just sort of more closely aligned to the big picture units of study. So those are the big changes that you'll see in the new proposed documents that you have in front of you tonight.
So thank you, Jen. Thank you for all the work that you've done on this, and thank you very much for the teachers who really are the ones who are doing that work. So I believe it was Sue Takija and Wendy Bibo, that really are the true workers that get that curriculum work done. So thank you. So at this point, we're looking to have the board accept these documents for a first read. We ask that you take some time looking at them. Jen and I can be back at the next board meeting. If you have questions, or if you do have questions in the interim, feel free to either ask them now or send them our way, and we can answer them before the next board meeting.
Thank you. Oh, yep. Barbara, go ahead. You had a question?
I just had one quick question. This is high school curriculum. I didn't see what grade level this was for. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, they're in the high school.
So
I really like seeing the personal financial management. That's a good one to have. Thanks.
Sheila, go ahead.
I want to make a motion to accept HI Unit 1, 2, and 3, Intro to Business Unit 1 and 2, PMM Unit 1 and 2 for first read.
Second.
Second by Kelly. Was that okay? Thank you, Kelly.
Yep.
I did read it, and it's a lot of work, so
Any further
thank you to
discussion?
who wrote it.
Sorry. Any further discussion? Kat, can you do the roll call, please? Did we lose Kat? Oh, you're on mute, Kat.
Rose,
Yes.
Royal,
Yes.
no Dr. Farah,
No.
Hannigan,
Yes.
Ms. Gentile,
Yes.
Mrs. Kishka,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Savage.
Yes.
That was the easiest thing we did all night.
Yeah, that was good. Thank you again, Mark and Jen. Greatly appreciated.
You're
Moving
welcome.
on.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the tuition rates.
Maria.
Who's going to be speak to that? Maria?
Yeah.
Sure, I thought Dr. Karen was presenting that, but yes, I will speak to that. So as you know, this is a formula that we integrate with the ADM reports from the Department of Education based on the increase that we have in our budget for the following year, and what we have for the rates for this incoming year. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get to the document. I apologize, I was not prepared to speak.
Okay, we can all read it, Maria.
Yeah.
I see it pretty clearly here.
It's up on our screen, Maria. We can see
the
it.
formula we apply. Okay. It's a formula that we apply based on the attendance reports from the DOE and the increase that we are projecting for our 2022 fiscal year. And as you can see, they are slightly increasing. So if you have any questions about it, these obviously are for out of district tuition, which we don't have many students on them. So
Maria?
yes.
So when you calculate this, is this a break even or are we making a little money for these?
It's based off the budget and what we have.
Well, it's based on the it's really a formula. It's not a break even or not break even. It's just based on how and the number of students that we're projecting to have, the number of students that we did have, and the increase that we have in the budget. So it's really
It's what it is.
It's based on the cost per pupil that we have from the Department of Education. So yes, I will say it's probably close to break even.
Sheila?
I just wanted to make a motion to accept the new Timberlane tuition rates for the year 21-22.
Second.
Second by Brian. Any further discussion? Kat, can you do a roll call vote, please?
Can, but I think you might have to listen to my dog bark. I apologize. Miss Bose,
Yes.
Boyle,
Yes.
Dr. Farah. No, Mr. Finnegan,
Yes.
Gentile,
Yes.
Ms. Pishka,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill,
Yes.
Savage.
Yes.
Kat, your dog is setting my dog off now.
Yeah, my dog's been going all night too, so.
Roll call.
Right.
What he's mad at, but it's nonstop now.
Fair enough, Kat. We all have those things though. We're doing these meetings from home, so no worries. Next thing is policies. Second read is Amy. Is that?
That is
Steve? Oh, I'm sorry, Steve. You're on the hot seat again.
I keep trying to get out of that. Amy.
No way.
Oh, man. So policies we have for second read are JI, students' right and responsibilities. Are there any questions or concerns with the first read? Am I doing this right? Is this how we?
We'll just go through them all and then ask if there's any questions.
Sheila, that's why I'm
Just
glad you're
saying.
here. Glad you're here. So JI, students' right and responsibilities, JIA, student due process, JIC, student conduct, JICD, student discipline and due process, JICD-R, memorandum of understanding between the Timberlane Regional School District and the Police Department, JICI-R, modification of weapons expulsion, DCB line and staff relations. And that's it. Are there any comments, questions, concerns?
Sheila?
Sorry, Sheila. Oh,
The only thing I have a concern about is JICD-R. How do we make sure that we're doing this yearly with the police department? Because as you can see, it was last updated in 2012. So how does the policy committee, sorry guys, make sure that you're revisiting this or that it's being revisited with the police department yearly?
Yeah, so Sheila, this actually came up on the policy committee. I think this, I think we stated in Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought we stated that this would come up each year for revision and update.
Not necessarily revision and update, but certainly be reviewed and signed by the police chiefs.
Okay, perfect. That's all I need to know. So with that, can I make a motion or does anybody else have any questions?
Oh, go ahead, Sheila.
All right, here we go. I make a motion to accept JI, JIA, JIC, JICD, JICDR, JICIR, and CCB for second read.
Second that, only if Sheila repeats all of what she just said.
You know what I wanted to do after that was go E-I-E-O-D-D-D-D.
Okay, any further discussion? Kat, can you take a roll call vote on that, please?
Ms. Bose,
Yes.
Mr. Boyle,
Yes.
Dr. Farah,
Yes.
Mr. Finnegan,
Yes.
Ms. Gentile,
Yes.
Mrs. Fishka,
Yes.
Ms. Lowe's,
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill,
Yes.
Savage.
yes.
Great, thank you.
That was a lot of
moving-
work. Sorry, that was a lot of work on those.
Moving on to the administrator's report.
Kim, could I bring back the summer school mask policy for one more motion? I would like to accept the policy as written, or if the COVID data, the number of cases in Rockingham County goes yellow or red.
You want to bring the summer school one back?
Yeah, so
Executive summary.
right, because we only covered the case when it was green. We didn't cover the case if the COVID numbers go green, yellow or red.
I'll second the motion for discussion.
Okay,
So
motion on the floor in a second.
I follow what Barbara's saying because it was that gap is, I think that executive summary, as she's saying, if we're yellow or red, makes sense to go that route. And there might even be, other guidance that comes to us at that point. But I think her motion was for that, if everything's completely A-okay, then we shouldn't need that. But if that's not A-okay, then we should have a backup, which would be that summary that was given to us. So I support your motion for that reason, Barbara.
Thank you, Chris.
Any further discussion on that motion? Kat, can you take a roll call on that?
Be a tough roll call with these dogs. Ms. Bose,
Yes.
Mr. Boyle,
Yes.
Dr. Farah,
Yes.
Mr. Finnegan,
Yes.
Ms. Gentile,
Yes.
Mrs. Fishka,
Yes.
Ms. Lowe's,
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill.
I'm going to vote no because this would require a whole new MOU to be negotiated with it. Never mind, I'll just leave it my statement as is.
Mrs. Savage.
Yes.
Okay, now moving on to administrator's report. Dr. Cochran?
We have a personnel report, nomination of grade 5 teacher of Sandown North, Kim Bushwald. So I
Make a motion to accept Kim Bushwald as 5th grade teacher in Sandown North and welcome back.
Second.
Whatever that was, second.
All right, so there was a second on that. Kat, can you take a roll call vote on that, please?
Ms. Bose,
Yes.
Mr. Boyle,
Yes.
Dr. Farah,
Yes.
Mr. Finnegan,
Yes.
Ms. Gentile,
Yes.
Ms. Mishka,
Yes.
Ms. Lowe's,
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill,
Yes.
Mrs. Savage,
Yes.
Okay, Dr. Cochran, renomination?
Yes, we have a renomination of Lee Middlecoff, art teacher.
I would love to make a motion for a renomination of Lee Middlecoff, an old name that I've known from a long, long time ago with my oldest. Welcome.
Is there a second?
Second.
Barbara seconds. Kat, can you take a roll call on that, please?
Ms. Bose,
Yes.
Mr. Boyle,
Yes.
Dr. Farah,
Yes.
Mr. Finnegan,
Yes.
Ms. Gentile,
Yes.
Mrs. Mishka,
Yes.
Ms. Lowe's,
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill,
Yes.
Mrs. Savage,
Yes.
Okay.
And we have a resignation of Monica McCaffrey, speech language pathologist at Timberlane Regional Middle School.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the resignation.
I'm sorry, can we do all
Do all
three of
three?
these at
Or can.
one?
The second resignation is Stacy Merriam, intervention specialist at Atkinson Academy. And the third is Jennifer Perot, a teacher at Danville Elementary.
I'd like to accept the resignations of Monica McCaffrey. Make a motion to accept the resignations of Monica McCaffrey, Stacy Merriam, and Jennifer Perot.
I'll second that.
Okay, Kat, can you take a roll call vote on that, please?
Ms. Bose,
Yes.
Mr. Boyle,
Yes.
Dr. Farah,
Yes.
Mr. Finnegan,
Yes.
Ms. Gentile,
Yes.
Mrs. Kishka,
Yes.
Ms. Lowe's,
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill,
Yes.
Mrs. Savage,
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Anything else, Dr. Cochran, under administrator's report?
Nope. That's it for this evening.
Okay. Moving on to,
Sorry, can I ask a question of Dr. Cochran, since we're talking
Sure.
about personnel? Just Kayla gave an incredibly eloquent speech earlier about the music program. So I was wondering if maybe you had an update for the director position, and also if you could chat about what your plans or hopes for the future of the position are, given that it's an interim role currently.
At this point in time, it is posted internally. I believe we have some interest, and we'll be hopefully moving forward with that ASAP. But at this point in time, we're operating. I'm operating under the assumption that the position would be filled in pretty much the same manner that it has been in the past year. We will have to strike a search committee, and we'll be looking for some representation for that. But hopefully, we can move forward on this relatively quickly.
Great, and then in the interim, it sounds like a more permanent position is sought.
I mean, the job description that was discussed earlier hasn't been put forward for approval. So I'm at this point in time giving you my perspective on it. But we obviously need to get some clarity around it in the not too distant future.
Thank you.
Tim?
Brian.
Yeah, well, thank you for bringing it up, Kelly, because I just want to make a comment on that position. As the board, we've received an awful lot of emails, and quite honestly, it's I guess there's a bunch of, we'll call it fake news that's gone on out there. There's been no discussion amongst the board, and I talk to quite a few board members regularly, to I don't know, to reduce, to eliminate the music program. I think everybody on the board is well aware of the success of the Timberlane music program, and it gets a little old for me when I keep hearing some of these alumni talking about stuff from their memories of 20, 25 years ago. I'm happy for them. But what bothers me is what they are putting some people putting the current students through. There is no discussion about removing and destroying the music program. And I just wish people would stop putting this in the heads of some of our students.
Here, here.
Second.
Totally agree, Brian. I feel bad for the students that have gotten very upset when we have no intent on doing what's being said out there.
Exactly.
Why I brought it up. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you. I have brought Liz Costa up because she has a statement to read from delegate session earlier. So go ahead, Ms. Costa. I want to give this person the opportunity to have their statement read.
Thank you. This is from Rita Sampson. These are not my words. I was asked to read this for her. And it is in regards to the music program. And I would like to say that thank you for the transparency tonight. In my opinion, I know what my kids have gone through just with everything going on. So Mrs. Sampson's statement is that she has been involved with the music program since its inception. Her children were students, as are her grandchildren. She's always had, she feels that they've always had a first-class music department with each new director. It has always improved and expanded. They started with the small marching band and looked at what we have now. We are always at the top, no matter what and where or how we perform. This is because we have always had the best teachers. Please do not cut the legs off of such a great music department. The teachers are the core of the department and we need all of them. If it is necessary to make cuts, let's look at the material items and the areas, teachers that are not productive, but not this great music department. The music department has never gotten the recognition it rightly deserves for the positive impact it has always made for Timberlake. Whereas the wrestling team and the long ago good football teams always appeared to get the first preference, even when their performances were not up to par. I could probably do a better job of coaching football in your guidance department, although there are many very good counselors there. A few were worthless. Oops, sorry, my computer is dying. Make your cuts carefully in if there are any cuts you must make from the music department. Let's make them out of those hideous color gowns that the girls wear. Those girls would look great in white blouses and black skirts. Spiffy, simple, and inexpensive. I suggest you consider your decisions wisely because it is our money you are working with. And remember, we voted to these responsible positions. Please work to enable the music department because they do more than teach music. They mold our children to be respectful, work as a team, strive scholastically, and I could go on and on. Please do the right thing. Thank you for your time. Again, those are not my words. I was just doing something for a citizen of Plastow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Liz.
All right. Before we move on to the committee reports, board members, I did send you out an executive summary from the business office late this evening, right before the meeting. This is on summer projects. Can somebody bring that up and share the screen on that? We have approximately $200,000 left in the capital fund. So Maria has gone through and come up with some projects that are basically almost of an emergency nature for the most part. Maria, do you want to speak to these or?
Yes, sure. So aside from the regular maintenance scheduled summer projects, we have identified these projects that are at the top as possible projects that we can do with the funds that we have remaining from this year. Obviously, in order to encumber the funds, we will need to have a contract or a statement of work in order to encumber the funds, but we are going to try our best to either get them done or get something in a contract in to be able to utilize the money that we have. So currently we have about $200,000 in our capital fund that we have not utilized. So the list of these extra additional projects is $175,000. So I'm looking for guidance from the board and which direction you guys want to move and if this is something that you want to approach.
I had a couple questions.
Mhm.
Just a little more context. Is that a steamer that's in the kitchens, or what kind of steamer is that?
Yes, it's the steamers in the high school and the middle school kitchens. They're old and they're reaching their lifespan. So,
Okay. And the door opener, what kind of door is that opening?
so that is out of us in the school. We have couple of children that do need automatic doors for
Handicap
accessing
doors.
the schools.
Handicap one where you push the button and it opens the
Yes.
main one. Okay,
Mhm.
thanks.
So that actually came from a couple of parents requesting
That
access.
would be ADA compliance.
So, Maria, are you looking for a motion from the board to encumber funds for those projects up there?
Yes.
Kim,
Okay,
can
so
I ask a
Barbara-
question before I make
Hang on a
motion?
second. Wait, Barbara, can you just go back to the top? The other information down below is just what facilities is doing in the summer. It's only up top that we really need to vote here. Go ahead, Sheila.
And that includes all of the stuff that we're already doing, plus the HVAC, correct? That's already,
The HVAC is coming out of ESSER funds, and in the facilities update, it talked about going out for RFPs on 9 units. That's not
Correct.
coming out of this money.
no, I understand. I get that, Kim, but that's going to be done over the summer also.
If we can find the people to do the actual work, yes, it is extremely
the
hard.
HVAC?
Yes, so every single school in the country is trying to get this done this summer.
Yep.
We had the walkthrough today and only 2 companies came.
And Train wasn't one of them?
A smaller company.
Okay.
They were,
Okay.
yes.
Train was one of them.
So,
Okay.
So
Alright.
if we, but as you have seen with Train, I mean, they started their work 2 months ago and they haven't finished even going through the units. So
No, I get it, but you know, I just want to
Yes.
make sure that we're still doing that on top of it to get
Mhm.
ready for September. That's all I was asking.
yeah, if we can, also we are waiting for the Department of Education to approve us to utilize the funds for that,
Right.
which we have to
Yeah, I know it's a
get
lot
an
of work. I
approval
get it.
before anything.
Okay. All
I'd
right.
like to
So
make
that is
a
a
motion for approval of up to $174,000 for the items listed in this summer project facilities.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any further discussion?
Quick question, Maria, is the track event area the long jump area?
Yes.
Okay.
And I wanted to also say some of these are obviously placeholders because we have to do a fee to request the pricing. So I don't know if you want to put it, we have the $200,000 available. I don't know if you want to do it exactly to the 174 or do it to the 200,000. So that gives us some room in case one of these estimates comes higher.
I will amend my motion to include that up to $200,000.
I'll amend my second.
Brian.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
up to $200,000. Kat, can you take a vote on that?
I can't hear.
Like I couldn't find me to unmute me. Ms. Bose,
Yes.
Mr. Boyle,
Yes.
Dr. Farah,
Yes, sorry.
Mr. Finnegan,
Yes.
Ms. Gentile,
Yes.
Mrs. Kishka,
Yes.
Ms. Lowe's,
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill,
Yes.
Mrs. Savage.
Yes.
Okay,
Kim,
thank you.
can I just say
Go ahead.
something real
Go ahead.
quick? Dr. Corcoran, a couple of years ago, a few months after I first got on this board, we, at one of our meetings, had talked about trying to put together a committee to look at the athletic facilities, to include the track and the football area and the potential of trying to see what was out there for grants, potentially for turf.
Yep.
We talked about doing that, and I know it got held up because the long jump area became an issue when we were talking about it. So that's just what triggered my thought on this. Can we speak with Angelo and work on trying to move forward and getting a committee together to start researching the grants that are out there, the potential income and revenue that it could bring, and the costs that we currently spend to maintain our current field versus what turf would be, and try to move that forward and consider if there's something. I know the track, the track has been a situation where, I mean, clearly we're unable to use it right now for home meets. And I know it's very important to get that back for the students. But it also seems if we're going to do that, to look at all the facilities. And again, I'm not saying this is happening. I just start that committee to start looking into it so we have that information.
Two things. In the last week and a half, I have had a meeting with Angelo about both the track and some other things. And Mr. Fournier and I also walked the track last week, looked at both the track and the field area, and discussed that situation. Angelo has recently submitted a grant to an outside source that would be in the area. Maria, I think you were involved with this as well. The grant was somewhere around, if we got it, $250,000, 200,000 in that range.
So it's a 50% grant that was offered to athletic needs, outdoor athletic needs. So I received the grant information when I submitted it last week.
So we're actually.
So it will cover 50% of your proposal, and what they propose was to fix the track.
So the conversation back then was the concern about if you fix the track and then say there's a grant a year or two later, or you find out that putting turf in would be a cost savings and a benefit to the school, you've now just put all this money into the track. So now what happens? So the idea was to have this committee in place to look into all this to see what makes sense. Would it be smart? I mean, you go and fix the track for $400,000 and now you're not gonna be able to use that field to put in turf because you'd have to rip up the track to put in the turf.
I think that's the next logical step. Quite honestly, between my conversations with Mr. Fournier and also with Angelo, because of the schedules and the loss of games across multiple sports, we actually have an unencumbered fund balance in the athletics area. And so one of the things I've asked him to do is try and take a look at what deferred maintenance projects we could allocate that to, and I expect to have some information from him in the next short while. And we want to have some information that we can share with the board in the near term to see if we can use some of that for deferred maintenance.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
The grant, I'm sorry, did that have a maximum rate, or is that something that, I mean, a 50% match, could that be used for not only the track, but for turf as well?
It was 50% of the project that was submitted. It is my understanding, and I wish Angelo was here so he could speak better. It's my understanding that Angelo quoted for the entire restructure of the track.
So just the track, but not the...
No, it was $390,000. So it was.
That's just the track. So, which is, I wish it had this committee been in place and moving forward as it was supposed to, we might have been able to go for 50% of track and turf, which could have been huge if that grant was available.
This grant literally it gave 3 weeks from the time that we received it to the time that he submitted it. So
right. I'm just saying, had the committee happened 2 years ago when we talked about it, we may have had that information to have that. So, but.
All right. We could certainly get that brought back at another time. Sorry, my laptop is dying here. So committee reports. Barbara, Energy Committee.
Mark covered most of it. The LED light project relamping is progressing, especially after we get through with all the outdoor events for the end of the year. And we're starting to look into our purchase agreement based on the information from Nashua and Dover.
Great, thanks. Curriculum?
I think Amy and I probably want to thank the committee for giving us a very in-depth presentation on curriculum at Timberlane and past, present, and future, and it really helped us out a lot.
Great, thanks. Safety?
So Steve and I had a safety committee meeting, and first I wanted, Jeff Dow has been the chair all along of safety and clearly will not be doing that anymore. So I want to thank Jeff for chairing that committee all along and working with us on that. He's been great in that role. As far as the safety committee, again, everyone had a lot of great reports, things that are moving forward. We did receive a presentation on Alice and potentially implementing that in the schools. And we have asked them to come forward at our next meeting. So I'm asking for that to be put on the agenda at our next meeting for a brief presentation. And I've asked for materials to be sent to the board well in advance so they can be looked into. If the board has questions, try to get those questions, you know, we can get them over to the officer in charge and he can try to get the answers so that that way at our next meeting, he's actually answering them and we're not sending him off to come back. So if you have a chance to look at the materials when they do get posted to our agenda packet, again, any questions, feel free to either send them to me or directly to them so that they can answer them and be prepared at our next meeting. That's all I have on safety. If quick school board report, or do you want me to?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
So I'm going to go down an athletic avenue for a minute and I want to congratulate the middle school track team. The boys took first place in the Tri-County and the girls took second place overall. It was a great meet. It was great to see them out there participating. They were, again, having so much fun. So great group. Unfortunately, they only got in about 3 meets this year, but they won the big one. So congratulations to them. Also want to congratulate Kaylee. I'm sorry I missed your report, so I don't know if you brought this up in yours, but the boys varsity volleyball team has a playoff game tomorrow. They are still in the playoffs. They have a game tomorrow at 4 o'clock. And boys varsity lacrosse has a home playoff game. They are now in the quarterfinals, and they'll be playing Saturday at noontime.
Congratulations, everybody.
Any other reports? We are going to need to go into a non-public session. Any other?
Well, Tim, I just, Carristown News, I don't know if people saw that, all the pictures of the seniors.
Yep.
We done.
Big
Right.
3-page
Congratulations
booklet.
to those seniors. The graduation is the 11th, correct?
12.
The 12th, sorry. We won't be meeting before then, so congratulations. Kristen will be giving the speech for the school board. Sheila?
I just want to also include our kindergartners who will be graduating, our 5th graders who will be moving up to middle school, and our 8th graders who will be having their ceremonies and moving up to the high school. And of course, our seniors, but you know, every one of them and in between every grade has worked very hard this year. And you ought to be very proud of yourselves. And congratulations to the seniors. We wish you the best of luck.
Okay, thank you. So now I'm going to need a motion to enter non-public session under 91A:3, paragraph 2, sections A and C.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll
Kristen
second it.
seconds. Kat, can you take a roll call vote, please?
Bose,
Yes.
Boyle,
Yes.
Dr. Farah,
Yes.
Finnegan,
Yes.
Ms. Gentile,
Yes.
Mrs. Tishka, yes, Ms. Bose,
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill,
Yes.
Yes.
Was the links already sent on out?
Yeah, I don't have one.
Yes.
It was in, and the subject of the email wasn't non-public. It was something else.
Correct.
Policy committee, I believe.
Yeah.
This meeting webinar links for tonight.
Got it.
Yeah. Yes.
I do have that one, but I didn't know what that was for a reference to. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
we get a 5-minute break?
Yes, I don't know, Dr. Cochran, would you anticipate that we're coming back into a public session?
Good question.
All right, well,
Leave it open in
let's keep
case.
this open then.
We have to.
Let's keep this open. All right, so we'll meet in 5 minutes then in the non-public.
Okay, meeting.
Oh, yeah.
We're missing, oh, Barbara.
Missing somebody, Barbara.
Sorry.
Took me a minute to find, sorry.
I'd like to make a motion to seal the non-public minutes, please.
I second.
Oh, go ahead. Steve seconded.
Stephen.
Thanks, Kat, can you do the roll call vote? And Kim has left the meeting and so has Sean at this point.
Ms. Bose,
Yes.
Mr. Boyle,
Yes.
Mr. Finnegan,
Yes.
Ms. Gentile,
Yes.
Kishka,
Yes.
Ms. Lowe's,
Yes.
Mrs. Savage.
Yes. Okay, and one more issue to discuss tonight, and that was a retirement situation.
Yes. I'd like to make a motion to approve Mary Youngblood's help me out.
Retirement incentive based on
Retirement
extenuating
incentive.
circumstances.
Thank you.
Kelly, you seconding that?
Yes.
Yes.
I wrote it.
Motion by
Okay.
Sheila, second by Kelly. Any discussion? Kat, can you do a roll call vote, please?
Bose,
Yes.
Boyle,
Yes.
Mr. Finnegan,
Yes.
Gentile,
Yes.
Mrs. Kishka,
Yes.
Ms. Lowe's,
Yes.
Mrs. Savage.
Yes. I'm the last one, that's right. Okay, I believe that concludes all of our business for tonight. Is there anything else? I'm going to grant Mr. Finnegan's wish that we can all go and go to sleep now. So thank you, everyone, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you all.
Good night.
All right. Good night.
Night.